tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old-time movie about a ghost from a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong, with chains upon my feet. You know that ghost is me, and I will never be set free as long as I am a ghost that you can't see. If I could read your mind, love, what a tale your thoughts could tell. Just like a paperback novel, the kind in a drugstore would sell. When you reach the part where the heartaches come, the hero will be me. The heroes often fail, and you won't read that book again because the ending just too hard to take. I walk away like a movie star who gets burned in a three-way script. Enter number two, a movie queen to play the scene of bringing all the good things out in me. But for now, love, let's be real. I never knew I could feel this way, and I've got to say that I just don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back. If you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old-time movie about a ghost from a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong, with chains upon my feet. The story always ends, and if you read between the lines, you'll know that I'm just trying to understand the feelings that you lack. I never knew I could feel this way, and I've got to say that I just don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carol Johnson, and I'm today's service associate. Richard Clarke will be presenting our message this morning. Our opening words this morning are by Dojin, a Japanese Buddhist priest, writer, poet, philosopher from the 1200s, and founder of the Soto school of Zen in Japan. To study the Buddha way is a way of studying yourself. To study the self is to forget yourself. To forget yourself is to be enlightened by all things in the universe. To be enlightened by all things in the universe is to cast off the body and mind of the self as well as those of others. And Dojin also said, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken. Awaken. Take heed, do not squander your life. And so I just want to welcome you live from Fellowship Hall. It's our LCUUF Sunday service. Our announcements were on a slideshow before the service, and were also sent out by email yesterday with the order of service for today. If you're new and would like to receive emails for upcoming services, please talk to a member of our welcome team or write us at info@lakechapalauu.org. And now, a special welcome to our visitors. If you're visiting us for the first time or have returned or reconnected after a long absence, we invite you to say your name and tell us where you're from. If you're on Zoom, use the Zoom raise hand feature and we'll ask you to unmute. If you're in the room, just raise your hand.
Doug and Eunice Gwynn. We're from Tampa, Florida. Doug and Eunice Gwynn. We're from Tampa, Florida. And we have lived in the past in Mexico. In fact, go back over 40 years ago. We did our dissertations in Guadalajara, Mexico, and we worked there. More recently, probably about 8 years ago, we had a place we owned in Morelia. And we sold that. But now, even though we're only staying until the end of the month, we hope to get back and spend most of the summer here. And because, you know, Tampa, my goodness, is hot and humid. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Shelley. I'm from Fort Collins, Colorado. I live in Chapala Central, and I've been here for almost 7 years.
Now let's switch to those on Zoom. Is there anyone new with us on Zoom?
No, Carol, I don't think there is today. Thank you.
Okay. And just a brief note, we offer a wide variety of services on various topics presented by our members, outside guests, as well as our minister, Reverend Matt Alspaugh. We hope you'll return to sample this variety of thought and belief. There are many ways to be of service to LCUUF. Our time, treasure, and talents are all necessary components to a healthy fellowship. Now's the time we ask you to share the gift of treasure through pledging and donations. Instructions for payments to the fellowship are on a slide during the announcements before the service every week. For people here at the fellowship, we'll pass a basket. If you're new here, or if you're struggling to hold things together, let the basket pass you by. Your presence is more than enough and is a gift to us. Pass it along. While you're considering your gifts to the fellowship, remember that each month LCUUF donates 5,000 pesos or more to an organization in our Lakeside community. We share 1/2 of the offering collected at the fellowship each week with that organization. For the month of July, we're supporting Operation Feed. Operation Feed is a group of people dedicated to providing food and improving the lives of the very poor and marginalized people in the village of San Juan Cosala, less than a 10-minute drive from Ajijic. They provide weekly food dispenses for those who would go hungry without the aid. Many of the recipients are elderly, disabled, and children who are hungry. Operation Feed also supports new program initiatives to involve the people in developing additional income sources and skills, such as English, thereby offering them a hand up, not a hand out. Operation Feed's goal is to help these people live productive lives free from hunger. Our chalice lighting words today are adapted from Deepa Jyoti mantra. The light emanating from the chalice removes darkness, ignorance, and evil. The light of knowledge shows us the way out of our problems, fears, tensions, and unhappiness. The light from the chalice brings prosperity, since knowledge or wisdom is the greatest form of wealth. The chalice is a symbol of energy and light, where light emits brightness. We salute knowledge as the greatest form of wealth. Light is hence worshipped as the bringer of knowledge. Now let us light our chalices with these words which we sing together.
Rekindle this light in celebration for the life that we share.
Our opening hymn is hymn number 352, Find a Stillness. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Each week, we take time to remind ourselves that we belong to a community which cares for each other. The sharing of joys, sorrows, and milestones is one way that we practice holding one another in community. We speak what is in our hearts, sharing any significant joys or sorrows in our lives, because there's power in the sharing. We'll start with the folks in the room to give those on Zoom a chance to type joys or sorrows into the chat to be read aloud by the Zoom host. First, let us recall the joys. Whatever you may be celebrating, whatever evokes a feeling of joy or peace for yourself or others. Are there any joys that people would like to share here in the room?
Hi, I'm Paula Odom, and yesterday we had new member orientation, and I'd like those that attended stand up, the folks that are going to join us, and those that supported me in having the orientation. Thank you. So look around, and if you don't know these folks, say hello to them. And I want to thank the welcome team, the board, the chair, people that came and explained what's going on, standing shoulder to shoulder. I really appreciate your attendance and your contribution. Thank you.
I have a joyful announcement. After the winter time with all the dust and the dryness, we need to clean our bodega. So please join us on this coming Wednesday at 9 a.m. It's fun. We've done it before. It goes pretty fast, and it won't be hot.
Hi, I'm very joyful today. I have other issues, and I need to put a plug in. Next month, I think we're sponsoring Mama Cleo's Boys Home, if I'm not mistaken. We are doing a concert 3 weeks from today at Lakeside Little Theater. We're hoping to raise 100,000 pesos for a commercial kitchen, because right now they cook on sort of a improvised barbecue. If anybody's been out there, they have a lot of need. And it's a Broadway review, which means it's songs from Broadway. It's very uplifting, lots of fun. Some of the boys will be a little bit in the show. It's at Lakeside Little Theater at 4 o'clock because nobody likes to drive at night. So there are flyers out on the table. Thank you so much.
I am very joyous. My name is Phyllis, and my son Gil is here from Phoenix, Arizona, where it's 118 today. So he's cooling off for 10 days in Ajijic.
I just wanted to say this. I'm sorry. We have only been here for about 3 days. Now, we knew that we would get along great in the Mexican culture because we've lived with many Mexican people here in the past, and they're very open and very friendly. The surprise was just how many people from the States and Canada were the same way here. That was a surprise. Not in the case of Eric and Catherine, because we knew they were like that. But last night, yesterday afternoon, we loved to dance. So we went out, we found very close to where we're staying, a great little Mexican band, sounded just like Santana. We enjoyed dancing with all the other people from North America, and we're having a great time. I think we'll fit in very well here. Thank you.
Hello, I am Michael Swords. I just want to share the joy of having found this fellowship. It's just absolutely unique and wonderful. Thank you all.
All right. Are there any joys to be shared on Zoom?
Carol, no, we don't have any joy today.
Well, we make up for it here with all the joy. Now let us voice our sorrows, whatever you or the world may be holding that is in need of our healing and caring thoughts. Are there any sorrows that people would like to share in the room? Nope, see, all joy. Are there any sorrows to be expressed on Zoom?
Yes, we have one. We'd like to light a candle in silent concern for Kathy Coaches.
All right. I think I'll wait for the bells to stop. No, I won't. And this candle from our care team represents the joys and sorrows we hold in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. We light this candle for all the unspoken sorrows and joys. Let us share a moment of silence to hold in our hearts both the sorrows and the joys that have been shared this morning. And now, here's Richard with today's talk.
Good morning. Today, I will start with a story of a remarkable woman whose influence shaped my life in profound ways. It unfolds in a different era, an era that challenged conventions and pushed boundaries. It's a story that has led me to deep understanding, which I share with you today. My journey begins in 1943 in a family dynamic unlike most. I was raised mostly by a single mother in a time this was unconventional. I witnessed firsthand the strength and resilience of a woman. My mother, an extraordinary soul, possessed a spirit that defied societal expectations. Her uniqueness was evident as a young girl as she would retreat to the banks of the Red River and engage with conversations with Jesus. While loving Jesus was customary, nobody talked to him, and these kind of conversations were extraordinary. Yet my mother fearlessly embraced her own beliefs and followed her own path. Fueling her insatiable curiosity, she devoured books from the limited selection available at her small-town library, constantly seeking to understand the world and life itself. In her teenage years, she married a man because he promised her the opportunity to attend college. So she became the first college graduate in her family. My mother's influence on my life was immeasurable, as she raised me without much influence from my father, her second husband. Born in 1943, I spent my first 2 years with my father away during World War II. My mother was my sole caregiver during these crucial years, and she nurtured me with a sense of curiosity and an unquenchable thirst for exploration, instilling in me, quote, the grandest answer to those with the grandest questions. When I was 6 years old, my parents divorced. At the tender age of 10, during a bus journey with my brother from Little Rock, Arkansas to San Jose, California, I was asked, "What's your religion?" Without hesitation, I replied, "Rosicrucian," because that's what my mother was studying at the time. I didn't know what it was, but if she was studying it, I must be one. Then later on in high school, she began taking me to the San Jose Unitarian Church, where I discovered a community that embraced the diversity of beliefs, promoting open-mindedness and meaningful conversations over coffee after the service. They said, "Our dogma is no dogma," just what I needed at the time. In my early 20s, an experience with LSD sparked my interest in Eastern spirituality. It was through the pages of Hermann Hesse's masterpiece, Siddhartha, that I embarked on a profound exploration of the human spirit. Hesse's protagonist, Siddhartha, on his spiritual quest, finally found peace just watching the water flow by in a flowing river. Inspired by this tale, I sought to understand the depths of my own being. For the next quarter century, I immersed myself in the teachings of Chinese Chan Buddhism, the predecessor of Zen. A small book, Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, by Paul Reps, became my guiding light. The essence of Chan Buddhism lay in transcending the limitations of the conceptual mind and finding enlightenment beyond its confines. Lacking a formal teacher, I reflected upon these teachings and sought to integrate them into my life, though without a consistent practice. Then I crossed paths with a truly enlightened sage who was called Know Me. Know Me. Get it? Drawing from the wisdom of Ramana Maharshi and his own direct experience, this sage guided me towards a deeper understanding of spirituality. What I have found, what feels like truth to me, is just for me. Others may find other meanings. The big thing, I think, is to look within yourself. We all can know our own truths if we look for them. Believe in yourself and your ability to know what is true for you. Through a practice known as self-inquiry, I investigated the depth of my own being, questioning my beliefs and perceptions about my identity and about reality. It's a profound journey of introspection that challenged me to explore the eternal question, what is reality? In the teachings of Advaita Vedanta of non-duality, I discovered something profound. Advaita says what is real is always present, unchanging amidst the ebb and flow of transient experiences. Advaita also says that what you are and what the universe is are not different things. Inspired by my teacher, Know Me, I embarked on a quest to find that which remains constant within myself. What is always, I wondered, investigating the depths of my consciousness. I realized that the world around me, the fleeting thoughts and emotions, all appear and disappear, leaving no lasting trace. Yet there was something within me that was always there, beyond the realm of thought and the objects of the world. I came to see that this eternal essence was not a thing to be grasped, but a profound realization. It's to be experienced. It transcends the confines of ordinary perception and reveals itself in the stillness of the present moment. After we came here to Mexico, one day I rode my motorbike past Walmart. It was an ordinary day, and then a flash of insight struck me. In that moment, I realized something profound. Our perception of reality is a curious thing. We believe that what we see and what we experience is what is truly real. But what if I told you there is a deeper awareness that we overlook? This awareness, my friends, is consciousness. It is a constant presence, unwavering and unchanging, and yet we mistakenly consider it to be ephemeral, while placing our faith in the ever-shifting world of the senses. But in truth, it is the other way around. Consciousness is always. The things of the world come and go. For years, I've struggled to convey this understanding, this experience of the world and what truly exists. How does one express something that transcends the confines of the mind? Language, after all, is composed of mere thought objects. How can I use words to capture what is beyond thought? Recently, I had the privilege of listening to a talk by an Indian Swami Sarva Priyananda. He's a renunciant Hindu monk and chief Swami of the Ramakrishna order, founded by Swami Vivekananda in New York in 1894. His discourse on relationship between mind and consciousness, the Swami offered a different perspective that I believe may resonate with some of you, serving as a gateway to the profound ideas that have shaped my life for the past 3 decades. You see, when studying Chan Buddhism, I encountered a perplexing notion. The conceptual mind is the very obstacle we must overcome, and enlightenment is the ultimate solution. But how can you transcend the mind by thinking about it? Through my exploration, inspired by the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, I came to understand that the mind and consciousness are distinct entities. The mind, a repository of thoughts, emotions, memories, and desires, constantly churns within us. On the other hand, consciousness is an impartial observer, untouched by the turbulence of the mind. Contemplating the fundamental question, who am I gradually realized that my identity could not be tied to the transient elements perceived by the mind. It had to be something more constant, something ever present, which remains steadfast among the ebb and flow of existence. This is consciousness itself, not the transient objects that appear in consciousness. Even in the absence of these, consciousness remains. So from this framework arises the question, what sets mind apart from consciousness? Before you look at this, before we look into this, I want you to watch a video from the legendary Beatle, George Harrison. In this video, George Harrison explores the realm that lies beyond the mind, unveiling a glimpse of something extraordinary.
Over the past year, we have been sharing wisdom from one of the world's great musicians, George Harrison.
Is a good thing in terms of giving you heightened experience or at least more experience, and but then it's what you do with that or what that uncovers. For me, fame is not the goal. Money, although money's nice to have, it can buy you a bit of freedom. You can go to the Bahamas when you want, but it's not the answer. And the answer, is how to get peace of mind and how to be happy. That's really what we're supposed to be here for. And the difficult thing is that we all go through our lives and through our days and we don't experience bliss. And, you know, it's a very subtle thing, and to experience that and to be able to know how to do that is something you don't just stumble across. You've got to search for it. And it's beyond the mind. It's like, you know, it's when there's no thought involved. I mean, it's a pretty tricky thing to try to get to that stage, because it means controlling the mind and being able to transcend the relative states of consciousness, waking, sleeping, dreaming, which is all we really know. But there is another state that goes beyond all that, and it's in that state, that's where, you know, the bliss and the knowledge, you know, that's available is.
In 1968, George traveled to northern India alongside the Beatles, where they took part in transcendental meditation training with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. This is a technique George kept with him for many years to come. Although George learned more than just meditation in India, this trip also helped craft his views on religion and spirituality.
I happened to get into meditation through music, really, Indian music. And I went to India to learn a bit of Indian music, and inside I always had a desire to know about yogis, and can't explain that one. It's just something that's been in me from some time in the past. So I had the opportunity to find out about it in India, and consequently that led into meditation, because really the only reason to be living is to have complete, full knowledge, full bliss consciousness. Everything else is just mundane and secondary. I wanted to know some method of enlarging my own consciousness, and that's meditation. It's been there millions of years, and knock and the door will be opened. The thing that really got me interested was, after being brought up as a Catholic until I was about 13, I couldn't take it any longer because it was just full of hypocrisy. The teachings of an Indian called Vivekananda, which really impressed me, he said, if there's a God, we must see him. If there's a soul, we must perceive it. Otherwise, it's better not to believe. It's better to be an outspoken atheist than a hypocrite.
Not only did he learn a lot in India, but he also had profound spiritual experiences. When asked about astral projection, he relates back to experiences he had during meditation. His views on astral projection and death also seem to carry similar traits.
A strange experience when I was in Rishikesh. I went on a meditation course where the object was to meditate deeper and deeper and deeper for longer periods of time, to plug into the divine energy and to raise your state of consciousness and tune in to the subtler states of consciousness, and all those things like walking on the water and dematerializing your body at will are just sort of things that happen along the way. So it's hard to actually explain it, but it was just a feeling of just the consciousness traveling. Mm-hmm. I don't know where to, it wasn't up, down, left or right. No body there, but at the same time, you don't feel as though you're missing anything. Mm-hmm. You know, the consciousness is complete. How I see it is that the soul is in this body for a period of time, and then it leaves the body. It's like, in a way, the body is like a suit that you put on.
Do you have any idea where it goes?
Yeah. Christ said in the Bible about the 3 cages for the bird of paradise, which is the soul being the bird of paradise, and the 3 cages being the 3 bodies that house the soul. And there's they call it the causal body, and then around that's the astral body, and then there's the gross physical body. So death is really when the physical body falls off, but the soul's still in 2 other bodies, so it's then on the astral level.
George speaks of the reflection of our own consciousness having a direct impact on world issues. The more people are able to transcend into deeper levels of consciousness, the better off the world is as a whole.
You know, we get in government, or we get in any situation in life, we get the reflection of our own consciousness. We can't really complain about what we have, because that is us. It's a reflection of our own being. Now, if we could have people who are actually conscious in a spiritual sense, then all the underlying problems to society, I mean, it wouldn't be able to change just overnight, but over a generation or 2 generations, you could have things where, for instance, say in England, and I'm sure it's the same here, you get disease. So you've got a lot of expenditure on hospitals and on fixing up people who have disease. Now, the problem is that most doctors, they study disease. They don't know about health. So you'd need to reprogram stuff so that you teach people about how to be healthy. That way, you don't spend so much money on disease. You'd be able to use that money for something else. So the natural law that operates on this planet or in the universe, everything, as I said earlier, everything works in a perfect order. And there's a scheme to things which has a certain intelligence that drives it and makes everything work. Now, if we as individuals could go to that level of consciousness where we can bring it into our being, right from being children, teach people about their health, about their bodies, about consciousness, because it's all to do with consciousness. Raise the level of consciousness, and then everything automatically becomes better.
People think this is me, and this isn't me, this is just a bag of bones. Basically, everybody is spirit, which is really what Christ was here to tell everybody about. The kingdom of heaven that lies within, which is the state of being, pure consciousness. Through many years of pollution of consciousness through material energy and this association, then we've all ended up in a fallen state. But really, everybody is basically potentially divine. So yoga, all these methods are really ancient methods just to further pollution of your system and consciousness and to cleanse the system. The whole thing of purity that they talk about in religion is really a mental, physical, and spiritual purity, which is obtained through discipline and through practice.
At the heart of my talk lies a profound question, a conundrum that has captivated the minds of philosophers, psychologists, and neuroscientists. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. In 1995, an Australian philosopher, David Chalmers, coined this term, reflecting upon the Western notion that consciousness emerges from the material world. Yet, despite years of exploration, the essence of consciousness remains elusive, like a whisper in the wind that evades our grasp. In our quest to unravel this mystery, some have proposed an intriguing concept known as panpsychism. This age-old idea that consciousness is not a byproduct of matter, but rather an inherent aspect of the universe itself. It changes our current understanding. It suggests that consciousness permeates everything, from the tiniest atom to the vast expanses of the cosmos. To reconcile a non-physical consciousness with our tangible world is no easy task. Critics argue that the hard problem of consciousness may be a mere consequence of our limited comprehension, stemming from a misunderstanding of its true nature. They assert that through scientific inquiry, we may eventually unveil the enigmatic secrets of consciousness. But let's look beyond the confines of consciousness and explore another enigma. What I call it is the hard problem of matter. What is matter? As we delve into its nature, peering through the lens of science and engineering, only to find ourselves adrift in uncertainty. First it was atoms, then particles, then even smaller entities like quarks. Now whispers around vibrating strings of energy. The more we discover, the more we realize how little we truly understand. What then is matter? This task is informed by the wisdom contained in a book by Evan Thompson, a distinguished philosophy professor. In his work, Waking, Dreaming, Being, Consciousness from Modern Neuroscience and Vedantic and Buddhist Perspective, Thompson reveals that consciousness studies are not a recent pursuit. They trace back thousands of years to the Upanishads in ancient India. In the realm of religion in India, faith was the starting point. It brought inner peace and connected individuals to the divine. But faith carried an inherent flaw: doubt, the silent underminer of faith. Many among us here have experienced the fading of childhood faith when doubts began to creep in. So the quest for an antidote to doubt commenced, leading to the path of experience, a path trodden by yogis, meditators, and Buddhists. This path also offers peace, but it often requires years of dedicated practice to attain profound results like samadhi or moksha. And yet, even these experiences can be questioned and attributed to mere brain phenomena, like observed in certain stroke patients. However, there exists an alternative approach, a path that addresses both of the challenges of faith and the limitation of experiential practice. It is known as Advaita Vedanta, the teaching of non-duality. Advaita harnesses the power of everyday experiences, waking, dreaming, sleep, to guide us towards a profound realization. There is something within us that knows all three states. What is that? Let me illustrate the distinction between mind and consciousness with a simple yet profound insight from the book Upadesha Sastri, attributed to Adi Shankara, written more than 1,500 years ago. Anything we perceive as this is in the realm of the mind. The mind's purpose is to comprehend objects, to know what is before us. However, it is consciousness itself that knows the mind. Consciousness transcends the realm of objects and offers us a glimpse into their true nature. Advaita Vedanta makes two radical, pivotal claims. First, it proclaims the existence of only one consciousness, an indivisible consciousness that unifies all things. This is born out of the direct experiences of sages and seers, as the foundation of their profound insights. This ancient wisdom also proclaims something truly radical, that consciousness is non-dual. What does this mean? I can see questions on some of your faces. It implies that all the objects we perceive, the world that appears separate from consciousness, are in truth nothing but manifestations of consciousness itself, appearances in consciousness. Every form, every phenomena is an expression of this. Just as waves arise from the ocean, seemingly separate, yet intrinsically connected, so too is the nature of reality. Remove the oceans and the waves cease to exist. Are waves any different than the ocean? In the same vein, without consciousness, there is no world. People struggle with that one. Such profound insights are not limited to a single tradition or a particular culture. Spiritual and philosophical arguments supporting consciousness as the underlying reality of the universe have emerged across time and space. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jain philosophy, Taoist beliefs, Sufi practices, Tibetan Buddhist teachings, tribal wisdom, and even the mystical teachings of Christianity all converge on this common understanding. They echo the timeless wisdom encapsulated in Jesus' words, "The kingdom of heaven is within." It is the symphony of convergent spiritual teachings. To discover this truth within yourself, you don't need to search far and wide. Simply observe your own daily experiences, moments of awakening, the realm of dreams, and the sanctuary of sleep. What do they share in common? Amidst the ebb and flow of your thoughts and emotions, there exists an unwavering presence, consciousness that remains untouched by the ever-changing scenery of the mind. It is within you. It is always present, closer than your next breath or the flicker of your thoughts. Now, take a moment to pause and reflect. Do you exist? You exist, and you know that you exist. How do you know that you exist? Not by thinking about it or sensing it. You exist even when you are not sensing or thinking. So it's not those. What is it that remains ever present within you, regardless of the transient dance of life? It is there right now, awaiting your recognition. This is the essence to which all the teachers, mystics, and gurus have pointed throughout the ages. It is the truth that resonates in the depths of your own being, so profound and yet so accessible. As I conclude this talk, remember that you are not alone in this search for truth. Throughout history, sensitive, intelligent, and aware individuals like yourselves, have asked the grandest questions about the purpose of life, our origins, our destinations, and the means to unlock life. And it is so close, closer even than your next breath or your next thought. What is it that is always there? It's there now. Just look and notice.
Our closing words are from the Tao Te Ching, the way and its power. The way that can be walked is not the way. A name that can be named is not the name. Tao is both named and nameless. As nameless, it is the origin of all things. As name, it is the mother of all things. A mind free of thought, merged within itself, beholds the essence of Tao. A mind filled with thought, identified with its own perceptions, beholds the mere forms of the world. Tao and this world would seem different, but in truth, they are one and the same. The only difference is in what we call them. How deep and mysterious is this unity? How profound, how great. It is the truth beyond the truth, the hidden within the hidden. It is the path to all wonder, the gate to the essence of everything. Let us extinguish our chalices now with these words which we read together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts and share with all the world. Our worship is over, but our service begins. Go in peace and with a purpose. Thank you for joining us today.
So for those that want discussion, please unmute.